Yo guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about road bikes and touching base on a few road bike rules that some of you may or may not be aware about, in the hope that it might help you out one day if you're copping a bit of flack from a do-good driver who thinks they know everything. And I've also got to share a story about an incident I was involved in a few weeks ago, a crash I had on my bike. Now let's start things off with lane filtering. So lane filtering is when you ride your motorcycle at low speeds between slow or stationary vehicles. Now this is perfectly legal, guys, but I'm sorry to say for all you P-plater and learner riders, unfortunately you do have to hold an open class license for the bike that you are riding. Now, when you're lane filtering, your speed cannot exceed 30 kilometers an hour. You also can't filter in school zones during school hours, which shouldn't surprise you. Much like filtering, it is also legal for us bike riders to ride on the shoulder of a road, but this is only to be done in zones where the speed is greater than 90 kilometers an hour. But once again, you cannot exceed that 30k an hour mark, guys. Now, filtering and shoulder riding should only be done when it is safe to do so. Failure to follow these rules could leave you with a hefty fine and a loss of 3 demerit points, or even worse, death. Also, failure to wear a proper helmet that is an Australian New Zealand standard will also leave you with a loss of 3 demerits. And if you're unlucky enough to get pulled up on the same offence within a 12-month period, you will lose 6 demerit points at once, which is bound to leave you with a sour taste in your mouth. Now, there are two classes of licence, RE and R. Now, Class RE licence covers learner, provisional and probationary open. Now, if you hold an RE licence, you can only ride a LAMS approved bike. But if you hold a Class R licence, you are free to ride whatever bike you wish. Under the LAMS scheme, a learner approved motorcycle is a reduction motorcycle that is fitted with an electric motor or has an internal combustion engine with a capacity of not more than 660 millilitres and a power to weight ratio that does not exceed 150 kilowatts. I know, bummer guys, but you just got to deal with it for the time being. Now, if you're like me and you decided to go out and buy a bike that's not LAMS approved when you only hold a Class RE licence, I hold a Class RE opens, but if you do get pulled over, it's going to sting you a $117 fine for not complying. I found this out the hard way a few weeks ago when I was on a ride down to New South Wales. I was riding down the Gore Highway, cruising on about 140 kilometres an hour. Now, guys, if you're 40 k's over the speed limit, that is an instant loss of licence for 6 months. So as I'm cruising down the highway, I'm doing about 140, and I noticed a cop car come out of nowhere towards me. And as I stopped speeding him, I'm slowed straight down as you do. And as he's come towards me, I could see him in the car pointing straight at me, so I knew I was done. And as I watched him in the mirror go up the road to turn around and come back for me, I thought, well, fuck, you're on a CBR 954 R5 blade. You can leave him for dead any day of the week. So I stupidly made the instant decision to gas it. Now, he chased me for about 59 kilometres. I reached speeds up to about 280, 290 kilometres. And I'd always get about 5-6 k's ahead of him, and then I'd slow back down and keep cruising, hoping that he'd just give up and I could just go back cruising on my way. But Gore Highway, guys, big fucking straight with a few hills, very hard to lose someone, especially if you don't know the area. Now, I soon found out that why he kept being able to find me was all the trucks I'd pass were actually communicating him via CB, telling him my exact location. Now, they also said I went past them as if they were standing still. As I've come down a straight at the bottom of this hill, I couldn't see him in my mirror, so I knew that he couldn't see me. So I decided to turn up this road, the first road that I saw. And it was a big straight, about 2 kilometres straight, with a bit of a corner at the end. And so I hammered up there, hoping to make it out of sight before he come down and looked up there as he drove past. Now, as I've done that, I've got towards the end and I've looked in the mirror to see, like, to keep an eye on. And as I look up, there's a patch of gravel, and I went straight into it and spat the front wheel of my bike out. Done a fair bit of damage on my bike, ripped the side peg and gear lever off, broken fairings and blinkers. And now as I laid on the ground for about 5 minutes, like I winded myself pretty bad, and I broke my thumb and gravel rash all up my back. Legs were fine though. Did a bit of sliding on my helmet. Now, I can't express how important it is to get a good helmet, guys. Like, don't be cheap. Spend the money and go buy a decent helmet. I'm glad that I spent the money and got a decent helmet. I got a Shark Squall helmet. Shark's a good brand, they make good helmets. My visor actually got ripped off in the impact when I hit the ground and scraped up pretty badly, but all in all it did what it needed to do. Now, as I laid on the ground, about 5 minutes later the cops rocked up in his little white cop car and stung me. Now, that little bit of adrenaline rush for that instant cost me $1,099 fine with a 6 months loss of licence for exceeding 40 k's an hour. It also got me a $117 infringement notice for not complying with the LAMS rules, and not to mention the thousands of dollars of damage I've actually done to my bike and my helmet. And as I lay in hospital, like I had a lot of time to think about it and regret all my stupid decision that I made. And once you do it, guys, you can't take it back. Once it's done, it's done. Now I'm still in the process of actually getting my bike back because it's 300 kilometres away and it's cost a lot to get a tow truck. Now, the other thing, guys, gear. Wear your gear all the time. I had gravel rash all up my hands, and that because I didn't wear my gloves. But stupidly enough, my gloves are actually in my tank bag. And but luckily I did have my leather jacket on and my leather pants with the sliders on the knees and my Alpine Star boots. Like, you got to spend the gear, guys. Like, you're not in the car. If you come off, you're gonna eat shit, and it's just important. Like good boots, guys. If you can't buy motorbike boots, get some good leather steel cap boots. Make sure that the laces aren't going to come off and get tangled in the chain. Good pants. Save your fucking ass if you're sliding down the highway. Same with the jacket. But yeah. And take on board what I've said about lane filtering, guys. It is a good way to avoid being rear-ended. But just be careful. Dickheads get jealous that we can go up the middle and avoid all the traffic jams. And they try to cut you off every now and then. But just be careful about that. And as I said, it's a good way to avoid getting hit. I hope what I've had to say today you found helpful. And keep watching, guys. Stay tuned and ride safely.